we passed. So let's see Jacob coming to Laban, chapter 29. Let's read first 14 verses.
Continuing his journey, Jacob reached the land of the Easterners, and there, out in the open, he saw a well with 3 flocks of sheep lying beside it. This well was used for watering the flocks. Now the stone on the mouth of the well was a large one, and only when all the flocks had collected there did they roll the stone off the mouth of the well and water the sheep. Then they would replace the stone over the mouth of the well. Jacob said to the shepherds, "Friends, where are you from?" They replied, "We are from Haran." He asked them, "Do you know Laban, son of Nahor?" They replied, "We do." Then he asked them, "Is he well?" "He is," they replied. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the flock." Then he said, "But it is still broad daylight, not the time to round up the animals. Why don't you water the sheep and take them back to graze?" To which they replied, "We can't until all the shepherds have his uncle Laban's daughter with his uncle Laban's flock." He went up and, rolling the stone off the mouth of the well, watered his uncle Laban's sheep. Jacob then kissed Rachel and burst into tears. He told Rachel he was her father's kinsman and Rebekah's son, and she ran to tell her father. As soon as he heard her speak of his sister's son Jacob, Laban ran to greet him, embraced him, kissed him, and took him to his house. Jacob told Laban everything that had happened, and Laban said to him, "You are indeed my bone and flesh."
There are several very interesting things in this. I found it impressive. I don't know if you have ever seen cartoon. I know which kind of cartoon was that. I forgot.
Feeling your age this morning, aren't you?
Yes. And it was a long time that I saw this cartoon, but I think it was Rabbit or something. So he could not do something, and then he get female incentive. The girl kissed him, and then he went and did with superpower everything. That's what that's what happened here. They are waiting for all the shepherds together to move the stone. They cannot 2 or 3 of them move it. And then he says he saw Rachel and he come and moved the stone alone.
I didn't put that connection in there.
Also about kissing Rachel, that's only occasion in the Bible that single man kisses single woman, and much more the woman he didn't know before. That's big no in the Bible, huh?
The thing I'm struck with that reading wasn't all that so much, is that this is his first cousin.
Well, in Bible, that's not that kind of. It's allowed in the Bible, first cousin, I think. Yeah, it's not very very appropriate in our mind, but in Bible it's allowed. But you have to see that in Bible, in the mind of the Bible, the kissing single man kissing single woman, especially the woman he never met before. It is. I guess we can equate this like in the movies of first black and white movies long ago, and showing the knee of the woman. That was like almost like pornography at the time.
Yeah.
And him kissing the girl, that was, I guess, in the Bible must have been extremely scandalous. We have to see that this text is kind of showing that he's free.
I don't know either.
Okay. Now, a little bit about the text itself, so I'm getting lost. Okay. So it says here, when we read verse 7, he is, they replied, and here comes his daughter Rachel with the flock. Okay? Now, I will replace the word come with the Hebrew word, how they come. Ba, there are two A's, so I guess they pronounce it ba. And Rachel means you, female sheep, E-W-E, okay? So if you hear it in Hebrew, you would hear ba, you with the flock. Okay.
Okay. Here comes Bayou.
Ba, the sound which sheep makes. You know?
Here comes Rachel.
You can see some sense of humor with these people.
That's cute, Father.
Well, that are what they say about literary devices there, you know. There are so many literary devices trying to, because you have to understand, this, we read it, and for us it's different. But so if you miss something, you can easily go back and read it again. In that time, they would, the one speaker would probably mostly from memory. This text was not written for a long time. Mostly from memory, he would say the story. And everybody had to listen. So if you didn't catch some part, you cannot go back. You cannot interrupt and say, what did you say? 3 pages ago. You understand? So there were people who were, first of all, accustomed to listen. We are not accustomed to listen anymore. And we are not accustomed to longer text. If you get text message on your phone, which is more than 20 words, come on. So there were people who, but also to help people to listen, there were many of these devices to keep their attention. I would guess that these devices which would attract the attention like this. I could not confirm, but in one of the texts I have, the notes say, so the Rachel means you, and Leah, her sister, would mean cow. I don't know if they loved their daughters or not. I guess the shepherds liked the cows and ewes. So in this case, Jacob comes to Laban, who is his mother's brother. One author, one teacher explains that this is important because at that time, people would have, a husband would have several wives. So the one who was male protector, male role model for the child was not so much father whose attention was dispersed to many children, to many wives, but was actually the mother's brother, the uncle. He would be in charge of the sons, kind of to protect them. These are the family roles which are kind of strange for us.
Yeah.
Bill, what?
Yeah, they are strange.
But for example, other role which is strange is also on the same note, because they have many wives. That come important for us if we ever come to the point of studying the King of Kings, Book of Kings, and Samuel, and so on. We will see there many kings of Judah and Israel, and for every king, it might happen that it's not mentioned to whom he is married, but always would be said who is his mother. Okay, the mother of the king is a very important thing for same reason, because of the king might have several wives. Okay, and which wife would take the role of the queen? Actually, the role of the queen takes the mother of the king. Okay, and that's important for us, as Mary, Queen of the universe. She is the mother of Jesus, who is King of the. Okay, so that's absolutely in accordance to the Jewish custom. I didn't prepare the notes to see where we can see these notes, but if you go through the book of Samuel and Kings, you may see that each king is, and probably you remember the King Solomon, that his mother comes to him and intercede for I don't know whom, and so on. So there is always this notion of the mother. mother of the king. She has the position of the queen. Okay? And these strange things come to us because these people had several wives, so that they had to have the custom adjusted to that.
Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my kinsman, are you to work for me without payment? Tell me what wages you want." Now Laban had 2 daughters, the elder named Leah, the cow, and the younger named Rachel, the ewe. There was no sparkle in Leah's eyes, but Rachel was shapely and beautiful, and Jacob had fallen in love with Rachel. So his answer was, "I will work for you 7 years to win your younger daughter Rachel." Laban replied, "It is better for me to give her to you than to a stranger. Stay with me." To win Rachel, therefore, Jacob worked 7 years, and they seemed to him like a few days because he loved her so much. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for my time is finished, and I should like to go to her." Laban gathered all the people of the place together and gave a banquet. But when night came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and he slept with her. Laban gave his slave girl Zilpah to his daughter Leah's slave, to be his daughter Leah's slave. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? Did I not work for you to win Rachel? Why then have you tricked me?" Laban answered, "It is not the custom in our country to give the younger for the elder. Finish this marriage week, and I will give you the other one too, in return for your working with me another 7 years." Jacob did this, and when the week was over, Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban gave his daughter Rachel, his slave girl, Bilhah, to be her slave. So Jacob slept with Rachel also, and he loved Rachel more than Leah. He worked with Laban another 7 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's wow. So there are several topics here to discuss. First of all, it says translation about Leah. There are many varied translations. You read what it says in your Bible about Leah's eyes, that she had didn't have sparkle in the eyes.
Yeah, no sparkle in the eye.
I never heard that one. Which Bible is that?
The New Jerusalem Bible.
Most often translation I found, and the teacher here, which I follow, agreed that would be kind of good, that she had weak eyes. Something wrong with her eyes. Okay, we don't know what.
In mine, it says she had lovely eyes.
Yeah, probably. That seems is kind of trying to help to find exactly. It seems because each translator translates it different, it seems it's kind of strange word in original. Each one tried to understand what it is. But most of the time, people understand that there was something wrong with her eyes. Okay, that's common understanding. But from the sentence, we find out Rachel was beautiful, but Leah, okay, let's say something about her eyes.
No sparkle. Yeah.
We don't want to say that she was not beautiful. And let me say, actually, that comes later, but I may say it now so I don't forget later. We are not accustomed in our time about, you say dowry, the money which the father pays for the bride?
Oh, dowry, yes.
Dowry, yeah, okay. So we are not accustomed anymore to that, but at the time was actually a very meaningful custom. That money which father pays for the bride, actually the husband, future husband, pays to the father for the bride, is kind of insurance money for the bride. Mm-hmm. She gets it. She's supposed to get it because she doesn't have any insurance. If she becomes widow, that's her life thing. And we'll see later on that Laban actually used that money for himself. He didn't give anything to his daughters. What is so that they feel cheated there. Okay, so we see that Laban character is almost like Jacob. Jacob, we know he likes to cheat. If he has chance to cheat you, even if he doesn't have to, he has to do it because it's in his character. He has to do it. Okay, and Laban is his uncle, and it is in the family. He has to do it, okay? So he has 2 daughters, and he gets money for the daughters, and it seems he wants to get money for himself, okay? And he knows if he get married Rachel, Leah will stay with him because whatever it's with her eyes, we know she doesn't have sparkle, okay? He does this trick. Jacob works for Rachel for 7 years. And let's read this line. Before we go to that line, let's just read again. Let's read 20 and 21 again. Listen on the harshness of language that Jacob uses. I mean, it's rude.
To win Rachel, therefore, Jacob worked 7 years, and they seemed to him like a few days because he loved her so much. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for my time is finished, and I should like to go to her." Laban gathered all the people of the place together and gave a banquet.
Of Jacob saying, "Give me my wife. I cannot wait to sleep with her." Basically, it's
been 7 years.
Yeah.
He's not one of my favorite people, Jacob isn't.
No, he is not. He is extremely rude. But here comes the punishment. He met his match
With
Laban.
Yeah.
Laban brings him, instead of Rachel, brings him Leah. And let's read that line. But when night came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and he slept with her. So listen, this part, we needed at one point to be told that it is Leah, and we are told Hidna, but everything else are the pronouns. And he brought her to Jacob, and he slept with her. And does it have no? But we have this he, her, his, and actually in my notes it's even more. He brought her to him, and he come into her. So we have 5 pronouns, one after another, which makes it sounded a bit almost confusing. But it is because what we said, the form follows the content. Everything is in darkness, and he, her, Jacob thinks is Rachel. So the text doesn't want to repeat. The text will not say he come to Leah because Jacob thinks it's Rachel. So it says her, she's veiled, and so on. Somebody said that he feels so in life, he always happened to him like that. He goes to bed with Rachel and wake up with Leah. that life always cheats him.
Yeah, because it does say, when morning came, there was Leah. So when morning came, there was Leah.
Hello.
I don't think Jacob is the sharpest tack in the box.
Well, I guess his father-in-law, Laban, his father-in-law and uncle, he took care to make him drunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
He filled his glass well, huh?
Okay.
He took care that his ruse goes well.
He got rid of 2 daughters and 14 years of
sheep sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all he lost were 2 slave girls, which were still there.
Yeah.
They were all in the same community.
For another 7 years, they were actually 14 years. They were there still.
Yeah. If it's exactly 7 years, I mean.
Yeah.
Time-wise, it could be something different, but still.
Laban made out pretty good off.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And now we will see also reason for that. There is another reason. Jacob needed punishment for cheating his brother and his.
Yes, he did.
And here we have hint of this punishment when Laban says, when he asked Laban, "Why did you do this to me? Did I not work for you for Rachel? And why have you tricked me?" And Laban replied, exactly with the thing what Jacob did to his brother. Laban replied, "It is not custom in our place to marry off the younger before actually the original translation would be the translation which I have from the professor who was doing that. It says, it is not custom in our place to put the younger before the elder. That's what he did to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
It is a reminder from God. Yes, you have that, but you came to that place cheating. Here is a reminder. I like it. This how he gets subtle thing in his. I like, for example, we mentioned that. So Jacob worked over 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him like few days because he loved her. And then they go to the marriage. So all 7 years were said in maybe 10, 15 words. And then this night of wedding comes, and then it's insertion of other things which they don't not necessary there. But when night came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and he slept with her. And then, parenthesis, Laban gave his slave girl Zilpah to his daughter Leah as slave. It's just to prolong the suspension. You know, it is like in the movies. You have the suspense. You see there is something conflict going on, and they switch to something else.
Yeah.
We didn't need information about Zilpah at that point. You know, we were interested what happened in morning, what happened with the marriage.
Yeah.
Father, I have a question. Did
Yes.
Rebecca's name mean something?
I don't have anything in notes. I might try to find. Probably did. Usually these names are meaningful.
Because if Laban named his daughters Ewe and Cow, I was just wondering what Rebecca was.
It says, is captivating noted chord. I don't know what would that mean, but that would be the meaning of Rebecca. I cannot in the moment connect with anything of her life with that.
Oh, what tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive.
Yes, maybe that might be that. So just to note here, so he gets married, then he was 1 week married for Leah, and then he get Rachel kind of ahead of time. He didn't need to wait another 7 years. He get it on the loan, you know, or I don't know how I would say. And then important part is verse 29 and 30. Let's read that.
Jacob did this, and when the week was over, Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban gave his daughter Rachel, his slave girl, Bilhah, to be her slave. So Jacob slept with Rachel also, and he loved Rachel more than Leah. He worked with Laban another 7 years.
Okay, maybe you know the result because Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. What will happen? God will show more love for Leah than for Rachel. So Leah will have children and Rachel not.
Mhm.
And that will be the next kind of drama which will drive the next chapter.
How did you say that, Father? So Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. So
Yes.
God,
So God shows more life kind of to console Leah. It doesn't mean that God actually loved Leah more,
Okay.
but then to console her, God give her children. And actually, I we'll have to see that later on. Let's read that and we'll go in details about that later on, about her prayers and how that changes. That's also interesting. So let's go from verse 31 and see the children.
When Yahweh saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb while Rachel remained barren. Leah conceived and gave birth to a son, whom she named Reuben, meaning Yahweh has seen my misery. And she said, now my husband will love me.
Okay,
Conceiving.
stop here.
Okay.
Listen this prayer. Let's just for a moment repeat that prayer, what she says. Now my husband, Yahweh has seen my misery, and she said, now my husband will love me. You see, she is not trying to do the will of God. She's not trying to, she sees God as a tool to get her happiness with husband. She doesn't see her happiness in God. That's what will be the kind of theme and change in her. I think so, if I remember well. Okay? She at the end, she will change her attitude in that. And so he even doesn't want the children because she loves children. She wants children as tool to get the love of the husband. You understand? Everything is used for other purpose instead of loved for its own sake.
Well, on line 35, when you go down further, after she's given birth to 2 or 3 sons, I don't know them, and then she says, now I shall praise Yahweh.
Exactly. So I said at the end, she will change the attitude, but also because at the end God gave her what, but still there is change of attitude. So and then she doesn't need more children. She will not have more children, but it's not needed so much because she finally found her happiness with God. God gave her children because God wants us to be happy. God wants her to be happy. But her problem is she searches happiness in the wrong thing. And God is okay with playing with that, giving her happiness even when this earthly happiness, earthly children. But at the end, he teaches her to find happiness. So let's keep reading and looking how Rachel reacts, how to react. Let's go on.
Number 1, Rachel, seeing that she herself gave Jacob no children, became jealous of her sister. And she said to Jacob, "Give me children or I shall die." This made Jacob angry with Rachel, and he retorted, "Am I in the position of God who has denied you motherhood?" So she said, "Here is my slave girl Bilhah. Sleep with her and let her give birth on my knees through her. Then I too shall have children." So she gave him his slave girl Bilhah as a concubine. Jacob slept with her, and Bilhah conceived and gave birth to a son by Jacob. Then Rachel said, "God has done me justice, yes. He has heard my prayer and given me a son." Accordingly, she named him Dan. Again, Rachel's slave girl Bilhah conceived and gave birth to a second son by Jacob. Then Rachel said, "I have fought a faithful battle with my sister, and I have won." So
you see this attitude. It's not about the children. It's not about doing the will of God.
And named him Leah, saying that she had ceased to bear children, took her slave girl Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a concubine. So Leah,
Poor Jacob.
yeah, he's a busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a busy one. So Leah's slave girl Zilpah gave birth to a son by Jacob. Then Leah exclaimed, "What good fortune!" So she named him Gad. Leah's slave girl Zilpah gave birth to a second son by Jacob. Then Leah said, "What blessedness! Women will call me blessed." So she named him Asher. One day at the time of the wheat harvest, Reuben found some mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." Leah replies, "Is it not enough to have taken my husband without taking my son's mandrakes as well?" So Rachel said, "Very well, he can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrake." When Jacob came back from the field that night, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come to me, for I have hired you at the price of my son's mandrake."
Don't you find this funny?
Oh,
Now I don't remember. I didn't now read the commentary on that lines, but when I read it before, mandrakes were this kind of flowers were believed that they give the fertility or something.
okay.
That's why Rachel was for them.
Wanting some of those. Okay. When Jacob came back from the fields that night, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come to me, for I have hired you at the price of my son's mandrakes." So I slept with her that night. God heard Leah, and God has given me, I've lost my place here. And God heard Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a fifth son by Jacob. Then Leah said, "God has given me my reward for giving my slave girl to my husband." So she named him Asashur. Again, Leah conceived and gave birth to a sixth son by Jacob. "For I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun. Later she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah.
And then there we are. Then God remembered Rachel. He heard her and opened her womb. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." She named him Joseph. Yahweh added another name. Yes.
I didn't see my end of the chapter here.
It was strange competition here between the sisters.
Yeah.
In the end, almost all of them, all these sons will become the leaders of tribe. They will become tribes of Israel. And by the way, I don't know if I should now, since I have short time now, let's just make confusion with the name of Israel. So Jacob will be changed into Israel, correct? And so the word Israel refers to person, Israel, then refers to the whole nation of Israel. Then as they come to the promised land, that land will be named Israel. We call them there in the promised land, we call them Israelites. We don't call them like that in Egypt. In Egypt, we call them Hebrews. I don't know why. I found one explanation which is not valid, so I don't know now why. I did like it, but it's not true. So then in the time of exile, no, after the King Solomon, his son will be very unjust and cruel. So Israel will divide in two kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom. Northern kingdom will be called Israel, southern is Judah. And then each of these kingdoms will be taken to exile separately. So now before the exile, after the split of the kingdom, we use the word Israel only for northern part of the kingdom, not for the whole land. Okay. Then when they come back, they will establish the kingdom again in the land of Judah, that is Jerusalem, and then this part will be. So you see that depending on the time, and we use the word Israel for so many different things.
But they were not called Israel when they were in Egypt. They were
Hebrew. No, they were called, the people were called Hebrew. Yeah.
Hebrew. Yeah.
So I don't know why. It's just never used. We could say Israelites, the people of Israel, whatever, but it's never used like that. We always call them Hebrews. So after receiving all these kids, what happens now? Jacob becomes rich because of the trick he uses, very strange trick, but it's explained that God uses it for his, God works with. So let's see how he becomes rich. So after he worked 7 more years, let's read from verse 25.
When Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Release me and let me go home to my own country. Give me my wives for whom I have worked for you and my children, and let me go. You are well aware how long I have worked for you." Laban replied, "If I have done what pleases you, I have learnt by divination that Yahweh has blessed me because of you. So name your wages." He added, "And I will pay." He replied, "You know how hard I have worked for you and how your stock has fared in my charge. The little you had before I came has increased enormously, and Yahweh has blessed you wherever I have been. When am I to provide for my own household too?" Laban said, "How much am I to pay you?" Jacob replied, "You need not pay me anything. I will change my mind and go on tending your flock, if you do this one thing for me. Go through your entire flock today and remove every black animal among the sheep and every speckled or spotted one among the goats. These will be my wages, and my uprightness will answer for me later. When you come to check my wages, every goat I have that is not speckled or spotted, and every sheep that is not black, will count as stolen by me." Laban replied, "Good, just as you say." That same day he removed the striped and speckled he-goats and all the spotted and speckled she-goats, every one that had white on it, and all the black sheep, and entrusted these to his sons. Then he put a 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob grazed the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob then got fresh shoots from poplar, almond, and plane trees, and peeled them in white strips, laying bare the white part of the shoots. He set up the shoots he had peeled in front of the animals, in the troughs, in the water holes where the animals came to drink. Since they mated when they came to drink, the goats thus mated in front of the shoots. And so the goats produced striped, spotted, and speckled young. The ewes, on the other hand, Jacob kept apart, and made these face whatever was striped or black in Laban's flock. Thus he built up droves of his own, which he did not put with Laban's flocks. Furthermore, whenever the sturdier animals were mating, Jacob put the chutes where the animals could see them, in the troughs, so that they would mate in front of the chutes. But when the animals were feeble, he did not put them there. So Laban got the feeble and Jacob the sturdy. Thus the man grew extremely rich and came to own large flocks, men and women slaves, camels and donkeys.
So that very strange method doesn't work with science. But whatever it is, at the end, Jacob gets rich. And that's what is the point of the story. Jacob gets rich because God worked with him. A good starting point for the next time when he departs from his brother, from his uncle.